Okay, since late April, we've been working on the front yard and then into the backyard. Yeah, front yard here. Basically, we had to put in 32 cubic yards of dirt, gravel, crushed rock, just to get it up to level. It had sunk like mad. 32 yards, wheelbarrow, and a long-handled spade. So that was lots of fun days. So yeah, that patio was existing. We just moved it out a bit after we pulled out a bunch of gigantic lilac bushes that were taller than this lilac tree. And we pulled all that out. Then we kind of did move the patio forward and out a little bit from the house. We filled in the side here, fixed the drainage with a bunch of quarter down, landscaping fabric underneath all of that. Quarter down, then decorative rock on top, landscaping ties to give us a sharp edge and keep the rocks contained. Yeah, so that's all kind of cleaned up, fresh sod. We did start out by seeding, but it was taking too long, and after I spent an hour and a half of pulling weeds from it one day, we went and got sod. So yeah, that was quite a bit of sod. Yeah, so that was all good. So it's looking pretty nice. All the trees and everything are doing good now. There were a couple cedars in the back that we had to replace. They died. They just didn't transplant properly, so that's all good. So that was the first stage. We did all that. It was looking fantastic. Then we had to come over here to this side because it was looking a little rough. We had about a 4-foot extension on the driving pad out to the side here, and as a path down the side, but it was looking kind of crappy. The grass wasn't growing back here, so we extended out to the property line as well to increase, basically as a driveway, a parking spot, and kind of the same as the other side. Drainage fixed with quarter down and some decorative rock on top, landscaping ties to kind of keep it going. Got a little bit of a wow in there, unfortunately, but that's how that all went. But yeah, it's just inside our property line, so I do the weed whacking, the trimming, grass trimming along the edges of it for the neighbors. Don't want to generate more work for them. And then yeah, it's just basically we can park a few vehicles diagonal or just pull one in parallel park style. It's completely out of the way of the 2-car garage there. And come winter, we got a vehicle we're going to store. We can pull it onto the decorative rock in the back there. Basically it gets parked once and just doesn't move. In the spring we pull it out and we can rake the rock back out. So that's pretty awesome. All pretty good. Happy with that. But then we decided we needed to do some stuff in the back. Okay, don't mind the air conditioning noise. So yeah, so we did a bunch of work back here. We had a little leftover sod we put down here. Grass is already being killed by the dogs. Hey, Ness. Arrow. Go puppies. Hi. Hi. It's Fanny too. It's Fanny too. No puppies. Okay, so what we do back here. So we took the old gazebo that we had on here. There'll be a video on that, but we pulled it down. Basically polycarbonate roof, just shattering with hail marks and stuff like that, and it was collecting stuff from the trees. So we pulled it down, took the roof off it, and this is the frame here. We essentially turned it into a pergola with a solar shade we got from IKEA years ago. So that helps. Definitely drop the temperature as soon as you get in here. This table we pressure washed it and scraped it and scratched it because the resin was starting to really go a little wonky on it, and it was ugly. So my wife Heather, she tried some stain on here, meant for wood, and it's of course plastic, so wasn't expecting to go very well, but basically just knowing how porous the plastic was and the way it was aging, gave it a try, and yeah, it went in pretty well, but we were still staying sticky, didn't seem to be drying. So we just kind of set it out and let it get rained on several times and then wiped it off with a cloth, and now it's all good, not sticky anymore. It's got the feel of denim. It's kind of nice, the look of it. So the look of denim and not the feel of denim. And yeah, it's not bad. It's not sticky anymore, whatever. Basically I was able to absorb a chunk of it, and then that was basically then what we're feeling for stickiness on top of it was just the stuff that wasn't sinking in and had nowhere to go. So the rain washed it all off, and that's nice. So nice little place there now. And then we ordered from Costco. This gazebo here, Costco Canada. We had a 10 foot by 14 foot deck on, or a gazebo on here before. Arrow, that's enough. Yeah, we had a 10 by 14 gazebo on before. This is now a 10 by 16, basically a 12.5 by 16 foot deck. And yeah, so it covers the whole width pretty much. The roof does, at least. Lots of nice things about this metal roof. It's not gonna have the same issues with the hail putting holes in the polycarbonate. There are a few issues with installing and a little bit of manufacturing issues that I'll get in that in a minute, but yeah, that's looking not too bad. Really quite nice. Nice screens on there. The screens are kind of a PVC coated screen, so nice and thick. They're not gonna rip in the first summer, hopefully. But yeah, so we put that on there. When we took off the old gazebo, we kind of scraped the floor of the deck and did some repainting. So that's kind of nice there. That's all kind of freshened up. And then basically our existing furniture and curtains we had just kind of hung up on here. Some new furniture we got just to kind of open or fill out the space. It was kind of cramped in here before, the old one. The posts were further in its footprint, so the 10 by 14 was like furthest extent of the roof, but the legs were further in that extent than what these are, so kind of nice. Lots of extra space, very open feeling. The roof line is much higher as well, so it's got a very big pavilion type feel, rather than just kind of the gazebo kind of thing. So it's very, very much more open, which is nice. And this, where you walk in underneath to come in, that is higher than on the other one as well. So it's when you sit down on the couch, you get a more unobstructed view out to the pool area. So that's kind of nice. A few things, I guess, in here. We did also get, these are some Govee smart lights, just an indoor-outdoor string. So we got it doing some blue stuff right now. We can set different scenes and things like that. So it's just some ambient lighting. They're smart. They will connect into the Google Home system that we run, so that's kind of nice. It also has its own power switch right there, so you don't necessarily rely on the voice control. This fan, got from Rona here in Canada. I also get it from Lowe's. Just basically made for outdoors, and it's running on low right now. You can see there's no wobble to it at all. Nice and steady. It's fantastic. Even on low, it moves the air pretty good in here because it can get pretty warm, especially under the steel roof. So that's kind of great. What else do we got? This was an existing light fixture we had in the old gazebo. Replaced the bulb in it, which was an old incandescent tough bulb, and replaced it with a new smart light as well. So that's controllable through our Google systems. It's made by Globe Electric, so we got it from Costco as well. At least that was the cheapest place to get these. They're available in lots of locations. So yeah, just lots of command strips to kind of hold the cables, wrap them around, do them. Power, we basically got an extension cord with 3 outlet boxes in it. The wiring all kind of hidden in the tracks there, and it plugs down elsewhere. So we got lots of outlets for everything to be plugged into. So super nice. These, I can't remember what these are. I'll have to put that in, what these were, but the packing on these was fantastic. We got them from Home Depot, and yeah, the packing in them was fantastic. The way, basically they had them all wedged in so that nothing could scrape each other. There was like a metal frame around the top of the box so the box couldn't get crushed. It was pretty phenomenal, actually. Pretty easy install too. And the nice thing was that it came with a spare bolt that helped fix a problem we had with the gazebo. So, problems with the gazebo. When we got going on it, initially it's pretty straightforward, lots of stuff. We did find very early that there's a lot of little screws and these kind of bolts that have to go in with the hex key, and then a few things with a Phillips head. But we've learned very quickly that you cannot use power drill. They were stripping like mad, even with my drill on the lowest settings, and the trying to prevent torquing out, but it wouldn't work, so we had to resort to basically a handheld and a ratcheting screwdriver to do a bunch of that. So that's just it's not necessarily something wrong with it, except for maybe the material, speaks to a little bit of the materials, but it also, yeah, it's just more of a, hey, this is what you gotta do. A couple other things. You can see that bolt there does not match that. Does not match that. That's because I found, or we found, multiples. Will that focus on this? These little guys here. Yeah, there we go. These little guys here that are in the aluminum framing. We had 4 of them pull out in total. Or 3 of them pull out in total. So that one there and that one there, and then we couldn't get them back in and they wouldn't stick. It basically pulled out of the metal. So those bolts are kind of threaded into the hole. They're a much bigger thread, much stronger bolt, kind of holding it all together. So that was unfortunate that that occurred. So that's something to watch for when you try and torque these down. Now, this may have been a problem at the factory or the person working that particular day, because on this bar that goes top to bottom, we had 2 pull out. So one at the top there also pulled out. That one we were able to get back in, get it to catch mostly. So that wasn't great. Over here, even though everything lined up beautifully, we got all the screws in nicely, pretty much all the way around the roof, we couldn't get them threaded in there. It's like the bolts weren't long enough, something wasn't quite lined up, holes or something. So there we ended up having to leave one of the holes open, and we basically couldn't put a bolt in. But that's where I line into these chairs, where they had a couple spares and one of them was longer, of the right threading, and we got that one going. So that's good. So we were able to put that back together. Other issues we found, one of these posts was a little bit bent. There's an attachment right there. One of those was bent. We had to kind of reef-on it to get the crossbars, the supports on. The other things with some flimsiness and things like that, just speaking to the quality of the materials. I will say the engineering on it, they fixed a lot of problems. This is from Sojag. They fixed a lot of problems we had on our old one, our 11-year-old one, that were a problem. Like there's all these little slider clips that go in tracks. There's 2 tracks, inside, outside. Well, just back to back, they're all inside the gazebo. But once you had the other one, the old one together, you couldn't add more or take any away or move anything like that. These ones are set up so that you can actually pop an end cap, slide some in, move them around. So that's good. And basically from our old one, I still had a bag of leftover clips. So we put a whole whack in here that weren't included. They have basically just enough to go with the screen that's included, but we put a bunch on the other track as well, so we can do things like hang our privacy curtains and things like that. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, overall, we're quite happy with how it looks, how it came out. But there was definitely some quality issues that we had to struggle with and fight with to get things going. So, yeah, and I guess, yeah. So it's pretty good. Quite happy with it. And then, yeah, just our other deck and stuff like that. We may have to touch up the paint over on that deck because now it looks a little worn compared to this one, just to get it all kind of balanced. But that's not today. That's not today's job. So, kind of nice. Quick walk out to the pool. So yeah, there we go. Quite happy. Yes, excellent. Okay, so we'll see how we get all this all edited. I've been recording off and on and doing GoPro time lapses and all this kind of stuff. So we'll see what kind of videos we got out of it and how many videos in the end there are. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.